Alrighty, happy Wednesday. It is Nicky Steez back again. You can tell by the title of this video what I'm going to be talking about for this one. So first, going to talk a little bit about the Philadelphia Eagles. But first, before I get into the Jalen Reagor part of it, there's something I wanted to address that I feel is necessary to address. So earlier today, I was on Twitter, so I created the live stream, right? I posted on my Twitter that, hey, I'm going to be doing a live stream tonight. Then I came across something from a YouTuber who on his Twitter last week decided to post something that was completely stupid and unnecessary. And I'm going to say the name of the Eagles YouTuber who posted this. I don't care if he finds out that I name dropped him and gets mad at me for it. If he wants to make a video saying something about me, I don't care. I'm going to drop his name anyway and call him out for it. So I already called him out on Twitter. His name's BLSG, and he posted something. He was responding to Cowboys fans about something. He posted something to the effect of, that's right, it's not their delusional Cowboys. B word, A word, N word. On Twitter, I looked at it and I responded my Twitter, and I'll put if you guys haven't followed my Twitter, you want to hit up my Twitter, I'll put the link to my Twitter in the description box right now so you guys can check it out. But as I was saying, so I shared it because I feel it's necessary to call him out. I put WTF question mark. This is the most arrogant and uncalled for tweet in the fan base. Salute to everyone who has called him out on it, and I hope I'm not the last in the fan base to do so. Because what he posted there is completely arrogant, completely uncalled for. Sit there and use that term, especially him being a pasty white guy. And he's posting that term to insult some of the fans he's responding to. And you know what word I'm talking about specifically, that N word. He's using that as an insult. I don't care if he spelled it with a G and an A or an ER or an A and an S. I don't care how he spelled it. He's using that term as an insult and it's completely unnecessary to use. And that just, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right? He's really going to post it. And I feel as a member of the Eagles fan base, it's necessary to call this out and condemn it as wrong. Especially with us as Eagles fans, we have a bad rap as it is already. I mean, with anything, I feel like anything such as this, blatantly racist remarks, needs to be called out on. Especially if it's coming from our fan base. Because if you're not calling it out, you're basically enabling it. It's the way I see it. I feel if I didn't come out here, call him out, if I didn't make a post on Twitter calling him out, that look, I feel like I'm enabling it. I don't want to do that at all. I'm not going to enable this behavior whatsoever. So I came on here and was like, look, feels necessary to call him out. It's completely uncalled for. And I unsubbed to him. I did after finding this out. And I don't care if he sees this and gets mad at me for it. Because what you did, if you are watching this at any point, Mr. BL, that was completely uncalled for. I don't care what excuse you make for using that language. You're insulting the people you said that to. You clearly were intending to use that as an insult. And clearly that's offensive, not only to the people that you were mentioning, but it's clearly offensive to other non-white members of our fan base that saw that. So shame on you for doing that. And shame on you for not addressing it, manning up and apologizing for what you said. Shame on you for just going on about your business if nothing happened. Because what you did was completely uncalled for and you haven't owned up to it. It's disgusting right there. Because I know Big Play Slay, right, Mitch Kovsky and myself, a few others have called him out on it, and I hope I'm not the last to do so. I hope some others call him out on it too. So I wanted to come on here and address that before I get into the Jalen Reagor talks right there. Because we do not need that type of behavior from our fan base at all. Any racist, sexist, homophobic comments, no, we uncalled for in this fan base. So that's all I can say right there. And to everyone that's just tuning into the live stream, there is the poll right there, a poll question about Jalen Reagor. Do you think he'll get traded in 2022? Whether that be preseason or sometime during the regular season. You guys can answer that question. You guys can vote on the poll. Let me know if you think he's going to trade. Vote yes. If you don't see it happening, vote no. Now, as far as there has been some talk recently about Jalen Reagor and the possibility that he's going to get traded. So now the rumors are pointing at the Denver Broncos that they might be interested in making a move for him. And to be real, they're not gonna, any team that is interested in Jalen Reagor at this point isn't going to have to give up much if a trade does go through. Because if you're talking about the Baltimore Ravens, because they've been linked to him, they've been here. I've heard that they've been interested in Jalen Reagor since the 2020 draft, but obviously we got to him first because I think everyone's expectation was we were going to get Justin Jefferson. And the Ravens didn't feel like they had, if they were in that interested in Reagor, they feel like, hey, we don't have to trade up. He's going to land to us. But yeah, there's two kind of teams right there in the AFC, both the Baltimore Ravens and the Denver Broncos, that might be interested in a trade for Jalen Reagor. Might be. But we'll see. But we'll see right there. And then you can see you guys can always, feel free if you're coming in to leave a like, subscribe, and share your thoughts. In this particular case, in the live chat, also vote on the poll if you're coming in, if you feel whether or not I think Jalen Reagor is going to get traded for the end of the year. But as I was saying, right, so there's two teams that could possibly pull off a move for him. Could. Now, the latest report coming from Dave Spadaro on the Philadelphia Eagles website called Consistency is Key for Jalen Reagor. I'll put the link to that in the comments as well if you guys are coming in, you want to read that as well. So this one right here, it's Dave Spadaro suggesting that in his article today, it was around 4 p.m.-ish, a little after 4 p.m.-ish, it was published, just in that some of the team that Aaron Moorhead, the wide receivers coach, so far likes what he sees with Reagor in camp. He's had a solid camp, and they're saying that his confidence is up, but that's coming from the Philadelphia Eagles insider Dave Spadaro. So far, there's nothing linking him to a possible trade or that he could get traded. So far, it's all saying that he's having a good camp, but we know that doesn't mean anything. Let's be real. Excuse me 1 second. Just had a sip of water. But yes, there's nothing confirming that. Right, there's nothing on their website suggests that he might be traded or not. And for all we know, this could all just be gossip and talk, too, that he's going to get traded. Who knows? Maybe the Broncos or Ravens, they might not even pull off a trade for him. He could be talking about a team that isn't in consideration could possibly reach a deal with the Eagles. Who knows? But really, if we do pull off a trade for Jalen Reagor at this point, his trade value is so low that other teams that are interested, because there are 31 other teams outside of us, good chance somebody could pull off a move if he's on the trade market, if he's that high on the trade market, as it seems like, high on the trade market is within the fan base. If he is actually that high on the trade market within the organization, if you get where I'm saying, if he is actually that high, then someone could easily make us an offer that we'll accept for him. I mean, they're not going to have to give us much. They could give us 2023 extra second round pick for him. They could give us 2023 fourth, third. I mean, they could give us pretty much anything. We'll take it at this point. I mean, I've even come on here and joked that we could trade the Detroit Lions for an M&M CD, or that we could trade for a bag of pennies. But in all seriousness, all jokes aside, we certainly could possibly pull off a move for him. And that right there, that's the link to the article about Reagor today. But yeah, it's obvious. I mean, we could pretty much pull off anything at this point. We could trade him to the Broncos, maybe get a second round pick, maybe use that on a running back next year if we need that. Because we could pretty much take any second round, because we already got 2 first round picks. So if Jalen Hurts isn't the guy, okay, if we want to come back and get a quarterback next year with one of those 2 firsts, we could definitely do that. And then if we pull off a trade for Reagor with another team, we get a second or a third out of it. Okay, we can use that second or third on another running back or offensive lineman or whatever, any position in need, period. Just safety, cornerback. So pretty much any trade in this case is a win scenario for me to get a pick next year in exchange for trading Reagor. Because we can obviously, just like I said, use that pick on any position in need we have going into next year's draft. Really, I mean, you cannot get it wrong in terms of what we get in return for it. Now, as far as if this trade does go off, well, this trade that's rumored does go off to either the Denver Broncos or the Baltimore Ravens, what would we draft with that extra pick? That part, first off, that's even if this trade goes through to begin with, okay? That's even if. So I'm not even going to get into whether or not we pick the right thing in return for him, because I know some fans will say, well, it's not going to matter because we're not going to make a good pick in return. First off, this trade hasn't even gone through yet. Let's not even go there yet. We're just talking about the possibility that, okay, there might be a trade for him, okay? So we're just saying that it's possible. And at this point, anything is a win trade at this point if it happens. Now, I know with Jalen Reagor, though, he's been struggling with some losses in his personal life. Lost a few friends, lost his grandmother. So I know he's struggling with that, and that's nothing to make fun of him from. But just I think with all the struggles going on with him in Philadelphia and all the personal battles he's dealing with, I think for him, honestly, a fresh start would be the best thing for him. He's already got all this other stuff going on in his mind, and playing with this in this city, with this team's fan base who are like, you better do this as a first-round pick or you're gone. He might as well just start fresh and move on. And I think it would be better for him and better for us as an organization to do so, because we already have depth at wide receiver, obviously, with, like I said, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal, Dallas Goedert at tight end. Obviously, there's a lot going on right there. A lot of receivers there this year. So it's easy for us to make a trade for Reagor because we got depth at receiver. So we're not losing out depth receiver if we trade him. And like I just said, I think he'd be better off starting fresh. Maybe he could go on, have a productive season elsewhere. Remember like how Nelson Agholor had a productive season in 2020 for the Raiders, his first year out of Philadelphia. Now, to be fair, Nelson Agholor did have 2 productive seasons with the Eagles, the Super Bowl run, the 2017 season, the following season, 2018, when we beat the Bears on the double doink. So he did have a couple productive seasons, to be fair. But the point being, though, is Jalen Reagor could possibly benefit from a fresh start, similar to a Nelson Agholor, the way he did with the Raiders in 2020. So I just see this as, if we do it, it's just a win-win scenario for both sides, for Jalen Reagor and for the Philadelphia Eagles as an organization, because we're not expecting much from him going into the season. We know the wide receiver room's more crowded. There's reports are saying that he's keeping his head up. The Eagles insider reports saying all that, and that sounds great on paper. I just still feel like, though, he'd be better off with a fresh start, because most of this fan base hates him already. He's not high on the Eagles. He's not going to be high on the Eagles' priority list once the regular season starts, unless several injuries happen at wide receiver before then. Unless Pascal and Smith both get hurt and they need someone in that slot. So maybe that could be another reason the Eagles aren't trading, because what I'm seeing from the Eagles website doesn't look like it's going to happen. It doesn't look like they're going to do it. And maybe that's a reason why. Maybe they're worried that the injury bug might catch a receiver or two, and they might decide, okay, let's keep him around in case injury occurs. Okay, and to anyone coming in, there is still that poll. The poll question is, will the Philadelphia Eagles trade Jalen Reagor in 2022? Just simply vote yes or no. If you think they're going to trade him, vote yes. If not, vote no. Simple as that. Free, it don't cost a thing. Just a simple click of a button. And the same with dropping a like, just a free, simple click of a button. Yeah, so back to what I was saying, though, maybe the Eagles, I'm thinking about, maybe they are keeping him because they're afraid that the injury bug might catch some receivers. Just a thought, because the Eagles website doesn't look like they're interested in a trade. This is coming from other sources, such as the Bleacher Report, because, yeah, we know they're so credible with their rumors, right? Right? Obviously. The point being is all this is just coming, or these are just rumors as of now. So we don't know if Jalen Reagor is actually going to get traded or not, but considering at this point, it doesn't seem like there's much for him in the Eagles organization. I just feel like I had to come on here and talk about it and give my thoughts. And the more I think about it, I personally, like I said, would think it would be better for both sides involved. You guys coming in can let me know in the chat if you think it would be better off And okay, we got to vote on the poll. Thank you for your vote. Everyone else coming in, vote on the poll. I'm still going to leave the poll up for a few more minutes because I'm about to switch gears in a minute or two. As you can tell by the title, what else I want to talk about. But there is another subject I want to add while I'm still on the subject of Eagles football. Can these random rumors just stop? Because while I'm still on the subject of rumors, I'm going to get into the Joshua Jacobs thing for a minute. See, this is what I don't like about, all these sources like Bleeding Green Nation and all these other random sources, because they just start with random trade rumors that just come from out of nowhere. Like this Joshua Jacobs rumor started like late last week, just randomly out the blue that the Eagles and Raiders could be reaching a deal from. Like, wait, where did this rumor come from? Like, this just random rumor that just comes out the blue, seemingly, or just far from left field. Like, huh? What? That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not buying into the idea that the Eagles could be interested in Joshua Jacobs. What confirmed source is there that could possibly be linking a Joshua Jacobs trade to the Eagles from the Raiders? I mean, beside the fact that there's uncertainty about Miles Sanders at running back, what is there that's linking this to possibly be true? And when I ask myself that question, I can't think of anything. So I'm just going to call BS on this. I am. And that's why I never make a video about it. I didn't even bother wasting my time watching other people's videos about it. I mean, obviously, I don't mean any disrespect to the other content creators, but I just personally didn't find the story even worth entertaining. Whereas with the Reagor, yes, while the Reagor is rumors, yes, that's the one thing they have in common. The Reagor one is actually more likely. It seems like there would actually be benefit to the Eagles doing it. See, that's why I'm mentioning the Jalen Reagor rumors and talking about it a bit, but just deciding forget about it with the Joshua Jacobs one, because I don't see any reason for that as of right now. Now, this would have been, okay, if we go through the 2022 season, Miles Sanders doesn't really have a good year, and then the rumors started during the offseason. Okay, I get maybe that would be a scenario where that could have some shelf life. But first off, this rumor is coming right at the beginning of 2022 preseason. So we haven't even gotten to the preseason yet. So it's not like we went through the season where in the 2023 offseason this rumor came up. No, this is coming up before we enter the 2022 season. Like, huh? Why? I don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It personally does. But at least with the Jalen Reagor stuff, okay. That makes sense considering how Reagor, how he's obviously not high on the protocol. He's had 2 disappointing seasons as a number 1 draft pick. His production's been, I guess you could say, average at best. When he's at his best, his production's average. I mean, it's almost like, as Philly 500 calls him, Jalen Reagor. Almost like Nelson Aguilar 2.0, but at least he had 2 solid seasons in his 5 years there, so he at least did something. So I get it with that. We were like, you know what? Right, and I pretty much said everything I was going to say about Jalen Reagor. We'll keep our eyes out to see if it happens. I mean, some of the stuff on the Eagles website, it doesn't look like the Eagles are interested in doing it, but you never know. Something could happen. Then, the Eagles could receive an offer that looks good, and they say, you know what? We got a crowded wide receiver room. Let's make this trade happen. So with that being said, I'm going to end the poll there. Thank you to who voted on the poll. I'm about to switch subjects right here. Now go on to the NBA talk in about 1 moment. Alrighty, so now I'm back. So now on to the main subjects of this video. So obviously we're dealing with, I talked about a little bit yesterday in my vid, laughing at the Brooklyn Nets. There was the whole situation with Ben Simmons. Now it's been reported that he left the group text after game 3 with the Nets when they were asking he's going to play game 4. He reportedly didn't even bother responding. He just like, nope, I'm cool with it, without even saying anything. Just walked away, didn't say anything to his teammates, didn't even bother playing. And Kevin Durant reportedly was like, oh my gosh, this is what I got myself into. So that's what it sounds like going on. And now with us, knowing Ben Simmons here, excuse me, and knowing Ben, like I was saying, knowing Ben Simmons and what a little coward he is, because that's what he is. He's a coward. He runs from any sort of adversity put in his way. He doesn't stand up to any sort of pressure at all. He doesn't stand up in the face of adversity and play with any heart. He doesn't do any of that. He just runs from any situation. We've seen it ever since he's been public enemy number 1 with the Philadelphia 76ers, and his confidence was gone after that 2021 second-round exit against the Atlanta Hawks in 7 games. His confidence is gone. He didn't play with any heart whatsoever. He didn't even try to play after that when his confidence was shattered. He just kept – it was always something. It was him not showing up, and then him at practice getting called his phone out. Like a kid in school, like a high schooler. Exactly, with his phone out. Which is perfectly fitting metaphor since Ben Simmons is a man-child through the way he handled the whole Sixers situation and forced the trade to the way he's handled the Nets so far. Even with a fresh start, he's still been a child. And look at some of the outfits he wears. He was wearing on the sideline when he didn't play. He looked like such a clown with that. Point being is he is a man-child and he is a little coward. Because anytime it looks like he's going to play, it's always something that's delaying his return. And the more stuff that comes on delaying his return, such as meniscus in the back, meniscus problems, mental health issues, the more he delays return, and it's always something delaying his return, you got to almost question the legitimacy of it. Even though I don't want to ever say that someone's faking an injury or faking illness, I don't want to come out and directly say that. In the case of Ben Simmons, just considering how many times he's hid from actually falling through on his return, you got to wonder, is he really going through all this? I almost have to question it and question the legitimacy of his back issues and question the legitimacy of his mental health situation. That was put out last season as to why he wouldn't play for the Sixers. And at this point, it's going on for a season at this point. And it almost makes you wonder, is Ben Simmons ever going to play in the NBA again? Is he? I mean, time will tell if he ever does again. But it almost I'm almost tempted to put up another poll question right here for the audience members in for this part of the live stream and ask, will Ben Simmons ever play in the NBA again? I'm thinking about it. I might just decide to do it as a poll question. I mean, there is a chance he might play again, but time will tell. It's still only August 10th, and the NBA season doesn't officially start till late October, early November, so still plenty of time to see what happens between now and then. But if this latest report about Ben Simmons is true, which I could believe that considering he has a history of just being a coward and avoiding any sort of conflict, avoiding adversity of any kind, I almost get the feeling that this is true. That he just walked down a group chat, because that seems like something Ben Simmons would do. Just leave a group chat, not say anything, because he doesn't want to be bothered having conflict with anyone. He doesn't want to be bothered having a conflict with the coaching staff being upset with him. He doesn't want to bother having any conflict with his own team's fan base booing him. He doesn't want to get heat from the coaches if something doesn't go right, which I think is the reason he never shot. He wasn't shooting his final season, which is 2020, 2021, because I'm not counting last year. I think that's the reason he wasn't taking any shots, because he was afraid that God forbid the coaching staff would get mad at him if he wasn't performing up to par. He was probably afraid Embiid would get mad at him. I think it's just he's a spoiled rich kid who's afraid to face any adversity because he's been coddled his whole life with nothing but sunshine and rainbows, for a lack of a better metaphor. So now, because he's that way, he's afraid to stand up. So I definitely believe there's some truth to it that he would do something like that. He's been unprofessional about everything ever since the 2021 playoffs. He's handled everything unprofessionally. So I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled this right there, not even bothering to reply in the group chat to let him know, like, hey, I'm not going to be playing. Like, I could very well see that happening with Ben Simmons right there. Him just being like, nope, I'm not doing that. Because he seems like a coward and he seems like a weasel. And I'm just looking at it thinking, well, Nets, this is what you get into. So if that is true, where you go? Well, that's what you get for dealing with Ben Simmons. And I'm just glad we don't got to deal with him anymore. I'm just looking back as a Sixers fan like, oh, thank God we don't have to deal with this nonsense anymore. We don't have to hear these reports coming from any Sixers sources at all. Just glad it's not our issue. It's your problem over there in Brooklyn, Steve Nash. But you know what? At this point, I don't even care if Ben Simmons plays again at this point. I don't. Because every headline with him at this point, it's just always just every headline, the more it just looks like, oh, he's such a coward who won't face up to any adversity. Any headline, because it goes from, oh, he's going to be playing in game 3 to, nope, he's not going to be playing. Oh, he'll be back in time for the playoffs. To, nope, he's still going to sit it out. And then the recent one, obviously, that he didn't even bother responding in a group chat and left the group chat. That wouldn't surprise me right there. At this point, if that is true, just leave the NBA, Ben Simmons, please. Just leave the NBA. Stop wasting these coaches, front offices' times. Stop wasting media reporters' times. Stop wasting our time, Ben Simmons. If you're really going to be like that, just leave. Just leave. Okay? And I apologize if I sound like I'm rambling on about this whole Ben Simmons thing, because really there's not much else to say beside it seems like typical Ben Simmons. He's a coward. He doesn't face up to any adversity. And this would seem perfectly like a Ben Simmons move. So I could definitely believe it. Even though I don't have proof that it happens, it sounds a lot like Ben Simmons. So I definitely believe that this can very well be true, because it sounds just like him. But now let's move on to the more interesting subject. Now, the final subject of this video, Mr. Kevin Durant. So we know he doubled down on his trade request yesterday. So the trade request started before 4th of July weekend. We know because there were initially talks that the Suns could be interested, but I think them having to match for DeAndre Ayton put them in a position where they couldn't pull it off. It seemed like the Lakers were rumored, but still nothing's come out of it. Seemed like, who's the other team that was in the... Oh, obviously the Sixers. There's still talks about that, especially after last week with Kevin Durant. So now what happened with Kevin Durant last week, some of you guys probably already know already. But those of you that don't, he was at a Travis Scott concert in London alongside James Harden. And we saw the video of it. Kevin Durant, he's there with James Harden. James Harden looked like he was living it up. He was dancing to the lyrics. He looked like he was having a good time at that concert. I mean, KD was standing up. He was waving his hands a little bit. And he was hanging out there with James Harden. There was a combination of some photos and some videos of them inside the venue while the concert was going on. So Kevin Durant and James Harden look like they're on the same page as buddies right now. So it is possible that there could be a trade for KD, which KD would be a great addition at small forward. But here's the thing. You're going to have to trade. I think you're going to have to trade Tyrese Maxey. And those of you that have been following my channel long enough, you know I am not signing off on trading Tyrese Maxey. I've made that clear even as far as last summer when it was suggested that we could trade Tyrese and a couple other pieces for Damian Lillard to the Trailblazers. I came on here and made a video about that last summer at the time saying, nope, I'm not going to do it. So I've been for the longest time now against trading Tyrese Maxey. So if I've been against that for the longest time, what makes you think now I'm all of a sudden going to say yes to it? The possibility that we'll take Kevin Durant if we can get rid of Tyrese Maxey. Now, if we could pull off a deal for Kevin Durant, we could get them to accept that doesn't involve Tyrese Maxey, where he's being such a pain to their front office that they're like, okay, we don't want to lose our GM, we don't want to lose our coach. We'll give Kevin Durant what he wants. We'll trade him. Anyone that gives us the offer, we'll take it. And even if we don't get the main piece that we want, but if we get a few other pieces that we want in the deal, we'll take it. It is possible something like that could happen where the Nets front office is thinking that, and they're desperate to just get KD out of town, and the 76ers may pull the plug, make an offer that the Nets will accept. Maybe Korkmaz, Tobias Harris, a pick or two for Kevin Durant. Maybe the deal might go through. Maybe. I mean, maybe if they feel like they can still do something with Tobias Harris and they feel Korkmaz is an upgrade for a depth piece, they might go. Or even George Niang even. Maybe George Niang would be a better piece right there to get the Nets accept. I'm thinking you could possibly, if you're the 76ers and you're looking to pull off a trade for Kevin Durant, maybe there's the possibility that we give him Tobias Harris, give him George Niang, give him a pick, and they give us Kevin Durant. It's a possible scenario there. It's possible. So there is that possibility. There's a few other possibilities. If you guys that are here through the chat, or even if you're watching this after it's been recorded, if you have any proposals for a good trade for Kevin Durant, the Sixers could pull off to get him. You guys can let me know what you feel would be the best pieces for us to trade to get Kevin Durant. I'll be happy to read what you guys have to say. So I think there is some talks heating up, especially with Durant and Harden, hanging out with his buddies at the Travis Scott concert in London late last week. So now, obviously, that's going to be the top subject now of the Kevin Durant trade rumors. But this has been going on now for a little over a month, and nothing's come official yet. But considering he's doubling down on that trade request, it could be happening soon. It could be the Sixers in the mix, maybe the Miami Heat. But I don't think the Miami Heat's going to really happen, because you're going to have Kevin Durant and Jimmy Butler at the same position. Unless you convert one of those guys, and one of those guys agrees to be converted and accepts their role, that's the only way it's going to work. I don't know if Durant or Butler's going to want to change roles so that way they can work together as a team in Miami. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that could happen, but then again, that's been rumored before, and it hasn't gone anywhere. It's never gone past the rumor land, if you will. Now, the 76ers, the whole deal with James Harden, that's given those rumors a little bit of a push after we saw them hanging out as buddies last week, and it is possible it could happen. But that's why I'm talking about it right there. I mean, and it is possible that the Lakers, but here's the thing with the Lakers, again, you're going to have LeBron and KD. One of those guys is going to have to convert in order for them to both see playing time. And obviously, I think the Lakers would have to trade Russell Westbrook in order to pull it off, but I don't think they're going to do that, because I think LeBron James, the real reason Russell Westbrook came back to the Lakers, well, I'm still on the subject of Lakers and Nets possible trade, is, let's face it, because LeBron James is buddies with Russell Westbrook. That's the only reason he went back to the Lakers in the first place. If it weren't for that, you bet Russell Westbrook would have been out. So I think the Nets would probably want Russell Westbrook in return, or maybe AD, but the Lakers aren't going to want to give up both pieces. I mean, I think personally the Lakers office wants to give up Russell Westbrook, but LeBron James is the one really calling the shots there, and he's pushing the Lakers to keep him. That's why I think he re-signed with them. But I just think at this point, Kevin Durant, I think the trades, after the move the Suns made, matching for DeAndre Ayton with the Pacers, I don't think they're going to get it. I think possibly at this point, the best options are, I think realistically, the Miami Heat and Philadelphia 76ers, or he stays with the Nets reluctantly. I think those are the most realistic options for a Kevin Durant trade scenario. You guys can let me know in the chat what you think is most realistic option and best option for a trade to get pulled off. And, there's not really much else I can say about this right there, but we'll keep an eye out to see what's going on with this Kevin Durant whole thing. See if anything follows through with Kevin Durant and James Harden, if anything follows through with the 76ers and Kevin Durant. If so, I'll talk about it. If not, we'll find another story to talk about. But decided to go a little bit more in depth with it, give my thoughts on possible scenarios that could occur with Kevin Durant, where he might land, what I thought of him and James Harden, him doubling down the rumors. But I said everything I was going to say about the subjects on hand tonight. I don't want to go on too long for it. So everyone that tunes in, thank you for tuning in. And even if you're not watching this live, if you're watching us afterward, you haven't done so already, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the notification button so you know if I upload a new video. Leave a comment, let me know about what you think of the stuff I say. If you agree with anything I said on any of the subjects, from Reagor, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant. Even if you disagree, you can let me know in the comments section. I'll be happy to read what you guys think of it. Most of all, have a wonderful night or day. It's Nicky Steve signing off, and I'll see you for my next vid.